Welcome to Brain Wreck. I'm Jason Max.
And I'm Kevin Graham.
And this is the best show on the internet.
It's been a minute.
Oh, man, we're back from the goddamn Twilight Zone, it seems like.
Some people say it's been 2.
2 minutes?
2 minutes.
Well, if it was 3 minutes, we get squashed by those dudes.
That's correct. We would get
Are
squashed.
both of them dead, too?
They both passed away, homie. Drinking the water tonight.
Here to Jamal and Rosie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fucking hell, man. It's been a hell of a 2 weeks.
It's yeah. that
like,
first week in between, I was like, this is just a week, and then like just a whole cavalcade of shit happened.
Yeah, and it's weird because I was planning, because I knew you were gonna be gone.
Yeah.
Last week.
Yep.
So spoilers, folks. We didn't do stuff last week because Kevin did some business to take care of.
I had some family
but your
business.
boy was gonna fill in,
but
then Wednesday, got terrible news of the passing of Terry Funk.
Yep.
And then Thursday followed right the fuck up by the fucking crazy passing of Bray Wyatt.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't feel like doing anything.
Yeah, that was one of those, I'm just going to sit here for a while and just, like, be in my own head for a little bit, like, a couple of days. Because, full disclosure, like, I went back to New York because I was going to a funeral. So, like, for me, it was kind of like an emotional, like, roller coaster of a few days. Because, I found out that my aunt passed away like last Saturday. So I was like, all right. And then, because of course she was like the last of the elder generation of Graham, I was like, go and support my dad, my uncles, and my aunt and all that. So fly out Wednesday, touchdown in Charlotte. And then the first thing I see when I touch down, because, I want to reconnect with the world again. First thing I see is your post on Instagram. And I only saw the photo, so I was like, "Oh, cool! It's like a throwback." Like, yeah, that was a great event. And then I scrolled down and just went, "Oh, fuck,
yeah,
man.
yeah."
Yep.
And the thing is, like, I think everybody knew like Terry wasn't doing well.
Yeah, I mean, there had been a lot of reports and people, just giving updates on his health. There had been, a lot of conversations just about like, hey, he wasn't like really doing well. I think they had him in like some like senior support stuff. And I know like Dreamer was giving a lot of updates on him. I think McFoley was also giving some updates on him here and there. And I know like he was on Twitter or like, on Twitter as like a lot of the legends are these days. But like, I know he did some like little videos and just like, hey, how are you sort of thing. So it was good to see that he was still like making the rounds and stuff. And like, I know he did like a Dark Side of the Ring. What was it, last season it was on. So, still seemed to be a little bit active, but of course, like, you get up there in age. It's always, always a possibility, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you put yourself through what he put himself through.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. It's actually kind of a miracle that he beat out Piper.
He beat out a lot of guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fucking hardcore legend for a reason. I'll tell you that.
Goddamn right.
Yeah. But it was funny because the first thing I really thought of, and weirdly enough, it wasn't really sparked by the picture you posted, but the first thing I thought about was that night. And just that event. Because I feel like that is one of those surreal moments that you don't really realize is happening until it's over.
Yes.
Because it's sort of like you're in such awe. And like working in 2CW and sort of doing the shows and like, going to the other states and promotions that we've done, you pass, a ton of people like that, like you're always going to be like walking by, like meeting them, working together. And there's always that sort of like, like this is what I get to do tonight. But then I feel like with somebody on the level of Terry Funk
Mm.
coming in and like not only just being a genuinely nice and caring human being, but
Mhm.
then willing to just, I'm gonna get in this goddamn match and just start fucking getting into it. Because
Mhm.
like I forget the setup, but like was he like I know he was supposed to be involved in the match, but like was he supposed to be involved at that level?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah, because
And that's both times that we brought him in.
right,
He was not supposed to do anything.
yeah, like if I remember correctly, like he was literally brought in to watch.
Yeah, he was brought in to do the special enforcer thing, which really didn't mean to do fucking anything.
It's a marketing gimmick,
Yeah, it
you
was to
know.
get him in, and he was gonna do pictures and
Yeah.
Polaroids and 8x10s and all that shit and make his money.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was just like a thing. It was kind of a cool thing to add to the match.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
kind of heighten it a little bit
Yeah.
more. And actually, I'm a little homage to Terry. I'm wearing the same shirt from that specific match. Still fits, motherfucker. Look at
Good
that.
for you, dude. I saw your pictures, man.
Hey, how about that?
Dude. I'm good for you.
Try.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I remember the first time we brought him in was Syracuse, and then like he ends up winning the title.
Yeah, he ends up winning the
Like-
title, which. All right, we're gonna pull the curtain back on a couple of things. First off, I got a couple stories from that night I want to share about good old Terry Funk.
Mhm.
First off, he came in to Syracuse the day before.
Okay.
So he flew in the day before, and I was riding with Josh, and on our way to the pastime, he goes, "Hey, we have to stop and see Terry
Mm-hmm.
real quick." And I'm like, "Oh shit! Like, we're just gonna go to his room?"
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Yeah, we're just gonna go. We gotta go talk to Terry to let him know, what the gimmick is for tonight and all this kind of stuff." And so we go to the Holiday Inn,
Mm-hmm.
and we go up to Terry's door and we knock,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we knock again,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And we knock again,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And Josh goes, "Is Terry Funk dead?" And I go, "I mean, he's older.
Yeah.
It could." And so Josh gets on the phone and he calls Terry Funk, no answer.
Yeah.
And so he knocks again, no answer. And
Mhm.
we're like, Terry Funk is dead in this hotel room.
Yeah.
Like,
And this was what, like 12, 13 years ago?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, good on Terry for keep
kicking
going.
out and keeping going.
And so fine, like at this point, like we're starting to knock frantically
Right.
because we're getting concerned.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we hear, "Hold on." And Terry opens the door in nothing but his tighty whities.
Of course.
And he's like,
course.
"Oh, Josh." He's like, "Come on in." And so we go into his hotel room, and we're just kind of sitting on like the little couch thing that they have there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Terry's just walking around in his tighties.
Yep.
And he just sits down and he's just having a conversation with us in
It's-
his underwear.
That's just probably what you did back then.
Yeah, and let me tell you something, like the crazy thing was basically Josh just wanted to go over what he was going to do that night, and he's
Mhm.
just like, "Yeah, fine." He's like, "You don't have to do anything, just go out there. We'll think of an easy spot for you to do as far as like ejecting Portia, because that was the only thing that he was really going to do
Right.
in the match, was make sure that she didn't get involved." And after he's like, "Yeah," he's like, "I think I can handle that." And then
Goddamn right again.
he had so many questions for me
Wow.
about what I liked,
Mm-hmm.
what I was doing in the business, where I wanted to go, like all this kind of stuff. And I'll always remember that as being like one of the coolest things that's ever happened because Terry gave a shit about what the younger guys liked and
Yeah.
what they were doing and where they wanted to be. And only because he had this overwhelming enthusiasm for the business.
Oh,
And just like he just had this like whatever you were doing, whatever you were if it was like a positive take on wrestling, he was here for it.
yeah,
100%.
yeah, yeah.
And so like I went from thinking Terry Funk was dead in this hotel room to like holy shit, I'm having this like super in-depth conversation with Terry Funk about the path of wrestling
Right.
while he's still in his tidy whities.
It's again, you don't realize how surreal and wild it is until after it's over, because you're just
Until it's
in the
done.
moment of like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
And yeah, like I still remember that show, that one in particular, just like everybody just kind of being there, and then just it wasn't the sort of thing where like you could hear a pin drop, but like there was like a more almost like just like a plateau of energy, but it was like good energy. Like everybody was sort of like on the same wavelength. Like everybody was sort of like it was almost like everybody was on their best behavior.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
because Terry Funk was there. Which fast forward to a few years later, when nobody was on their best behavior when Terry Funk was there, because it
Not
was
even Terry Funk.
not even Terry Funk, and then we'll get to that in a moment. Because the match was in Amsterdam, and it was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but was it you and Spike or Steen and Spike?
It was me and Steen. Well, it was the match itself was me versus Spike.
Okay.
And Terry was in Spike's corner, Steen was in my corner. I don't think it was an actual. It might have been an actual tag match, actually, thinking about it. I think it was.
Okay.
It was hard because basically the way that it was set up was that, you know, Josh came to me and was like, "Hey, I want to do you and you know, Steen's going to be feuding with Terry.
Yeah.
They're going to do like a promo battle. So I want you and Steen versus Terry and somebody." And I'm like, "Do you have any ideas?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, Spike. Like, it just makes perfect sense."
Yeah.
And Josh thought about it. He goes, "Do you think Spike would do it?" I'm like, "Fuck yes, Spike would do it." And so
no, you're gonna call up Spike Dudley and he's gonna be like, "No, I don't want to work with Terry Funk."
yeah,
Come on.
and
like, of course.
and
who
so
doesn't?
when we went to Oswego,
Right.
which was the next show that Spike was on, Josh walked up. You know, Spike got there. Josh went up to Spike and pitched the idea, and then I was just walking by, and then Josh goes, "Oh, and it was Axe's idea for you to go." And Spike goes, "It was your idea?" I go, "Yeah, I thought it'd be awesome. Like we could do something with Terry Funk." Spike pulled me aside and thanked me because he never got to work with Terry Funk. No matter however long he was in ECW, he never got to do a match with Terry Funk, and that this meant the world to him. And he thanked me for putting his name, and I'm just like, "Hey, thank you. You fucking made me. So like, that's the fucking least I could do."
That is, like, in like that situation alone to me is like when you really think about it, like you literally had two incredibly prominent figures like interacting with you on that level. Like, like Spike Dudley and Terry Funk, like those aren't just, you know, some random ham and eggers, you know, doing spot shows and working the undercard. Like that's fucking Spike Dudley, you know, multi-time title winner, and Terry Funk. Like, you're booking, you're getting them involved. You're like, yeah, this makes the most sense, and I'm gonna go wrestle them.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go with Kevin Owens.
Yeah, with you know, Kevin Owens, who would only just a few years later become one of the biggest names in the business. You know, no big deal.
It was super cool to see Kevin tweet out.
Yeah, I saw that tweet, and I was immediately like, fuck, that night. Yeah.
That night was something special, and to, for him to say that, I mean, he's fucking main evented WrestleMania with Stone Cold fucking Steve Austin,
I was there. I saw
and
that shit. It was
and and
great.
to say that the night that we wrestled Terry Funk and Spike Dudley is right up there with that night.
That made it on SmackDown.
Like, what's that?
That tweet was posted on SmackDown.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, because they didn't do any testimonials during the show. They were just like rolling out tweets about everybody who was like, we're talking about Bray, talking about Terry, and one of them was Steen, or I keep saying Steen. One of them was Kevin Owens's tweet about that night.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And like that day for me was kind of wild because like at that time I was still driving people like I was driving the talent, like I was the talent driver,
Right.
So like I was picking people up from the airport, I was bringing them to the show, bringing them back to the hotels, bringing them to the airport. I want to say I think Terry was already in Syracuse at this point because I'm pretty sure Josh flew him in, set him up at the hotel, and then he and I went to meet him, make sure he was good with everything. And I was like, all right, like this guy's can come back and get you. I want to say like I may have drove with Studley Steve as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because the night of the show was the night before my graduation.
Of course.
Because like I had just finished my master's program, and much like the first time I graduated, I went and did a show, then drove back all night, didn't sleep, and then walked the stage. So like I would have driven him down from Oswego. We got Terry Funk. We drove out to Amsterdam. The entire time, he's just talking and telling stories.
Oh my God.
And then like one of the moments that like really connects with me is like, because like at this point, like I've driven Duggan,
right.
I've driven like a handful of other guys, and like they're all super cool. They're all telling stories. But then Terry starts talking about Andre the Giant, like, and I was just like in my head, I'm just like, fuck, that's so fucking cool. Like I'm literally an arm's reach away from a guy who's like hung out with Andre the Giant. Like that was one of the times where like it really clicked with me. So he's telling all these old road stories and whatnot. We get to the venue, and again, everybody's on that same plateau of like, the Funker is here. Fucking be on your best behavior. Show happens. I remember your guys' match just being curtain sellout. Like everybody who was on that show was watching, whether it was on the stage, from the curtain, from the monitor, like everybody was watching. And anytime he was getting involved, like when you're fucking, when he's bumping and feeding for you, everybody's just like, holy shit.
Including me.
Yeah.
While it's happening. Because I don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to punch Terry Funk in the face.
Yeah.
Like I have to.
Like, and at that point, I would just be like, I'm sorry, sir. I really respect you. I really appreciate all you've done for the business. I don't want to do this, but I kind of have to. And he'd probably be like, fucking hit me harder, you goddamn pussy.
It's so funny because going back to the first match, not to kind of get us off topic, but we didn't like call anything. Right. And Terry wasn't really going to do a bump. Per se. The only thing that we kind of worked out ahead of time was that I was going to do the spinning toe hold. And then he was going to find a way to fucking break it up, right? And so when you watch the video, he's poking me, and I stop the spinning toe hold and I push him. And when I pushed him, I was like, oh fuck. I pushed him really hard. And like I was like, oh no. But there's nothing I can do about it at this point, so I just go do it. And then when he grabs like my head, I'm like, oh shit, he's gonna DDT me. Oh shit. And then it happens, I'm like, I just got DDT by Terry Funk. This is fucking great.
But yeah, and then so like you guys have that match and it's tremendous. And then the funny thing was because like the next night he's doing the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in Amsterdam, and everybody's just riding this high after the show.
Yep.
So, and I want to say it was Colin Delaney who was like, "We need to go find a bar,
Right,
and just like enjoy the night." And they talked.
well, there was a whiskey bottle being passed around.
Yeah, I remember there being a whiskey bottle, and then because I got all my bags packed, I was saying like hi and bye to everybody, and I'm like making my way to Terry because like I got to drive him back to Syracuse, which was weird considering he had to go to Amsterdam again the next day.
Right.
So like I'm kind of getting involved, and I want to say it was like Josh who pulled me aside and was just like, "We're going to the bar." And I'm like, "What bar?" It was like either him or Lovins, and they were like, "This is where we're going. Terry wants to go." And I was like, "Okay." Like,
Terry wants to go.
We're
going.
Terry can tell me he wants to go anywhere, and I'll take him.
Hey, absolutely.
So yeah, so like the three, like him, Stully, and I, we get back in the car, and I'm like, "So we're gonna go have a drink, Terry?" He's just like, "Yeah, we'll go, we'll go and we'll hang out for a little bit, and then we'll go back." And I'm like, "Okay." So we go over there, and then like as you remember, like pretty much the entire locker room is there.
Just surrounding Terry.
Nobody else is in this bar.
No,
Nobody.
It's a dive bar.
It's a dive, but it's like the perfect dive bar for this kind of thing. Because like it's basically like a hallway. Like the bar was the size of the bar.
Yes.
Yes. With like a handful of tables, off to the side. But it's literally like you walk in, you walk straight back, and then there's the door to go out the other side. The bar's here, and then it's just everybody gets a seat. We're all talking. And like I was sitting next to him at one point, and he, Terry's just throwing him back. He's having a good time. And he's like, "How you feeling?" And I'm like, I'm doing good. How you doing, Terry? He's like, maybe do one more, then we'll leave. I'm like, okay, we'll do that. 20 minutes later, "Doing okay?" I'm like, "Yep." He was like, "Okay, maybe we'll do one more and then we'll leave." I'm like, "Okay, Terry." Like I'm like, "Hey, like I'm here as long as you want to be here. I just want you to know that." He's like, "Well, we won't be here too much longer." And then like I look back over and he's got Dick Justice just like huddled around him, and Dick's just like, and he's like, "What's your name?" He's like, I do like the super cop gimmick. I'm super cop Dick Justice. And he's like, "You should paint." He goes, "You should bleach your hair blonde, and you should be Dirty Dick Justice." And he's like, "Come out in some trunks, because you're just like Dirty Dick Slater." I'm like, and Dick's just like, "I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that next week." And he's like,
Yeah.
"Well, think about it." He goes, No, I'm gonna do it. I got a show next week. I'm gonna do it. And then he did it. But like, Terry's just like dropping all these ideas on people. He's telling all these stories. Like 3 more hours go by, and he's like, "When are we leaving?" And I'm like, "When do you want to leave?" And he's like, "Right after the next one." Oh my gosh! And then at this point, it's like 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Yeah, no, last call had been called and we ain't leaving.
That's the thing. Because that bartender, like that was the best night that bartender ever had.
Fucking A.
Yeah. We get in the car. It's like, again, it's myself, Studley's in the back, Terry's next to me, and he's just talking about the business. And he's asking me questions. He's asking Studley questions. And he's like, "What do you work as?" And I'm like, I did Kevin the Man Graham. He's like, "How'd you get the Graham name?" I was like, "Well, that's my actual last name. Like, my last name's actually Graham." And he starts, and this was like 7 or 8 months after Mike Graham had unfortunately like taken his own life.
Right.
Which, if you haven't seen that Dark Side of the Ring, that's a heavy one. And just hearing the way he was talking about him, like I could tell that really like affected him, because like he had worked around Mike, he had worked around Eddie.
So I mean, Florida was huge for him.
Yeah. And so he was telling me, he was like, "You should be doing it in a way that honors the Grahams." And like the way that he was like putting it out there, I was just like this guy, like I know this dude like loved the business, but like fuck, like he's got a heart.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
then
yeah.
like there was one thing he asked both Studley and I, which was like, "Do you love the business?" And we were both like, "Yeah." He goes, "Good, because if you don't, just don't do it."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "If you don't love this business, not that you shouldn't do it, but just don't do it. Do it
Right.
because you love it." And the way he proceeded to continue talking about wrestling, that was the day I realized no matter how much anybody says they love this business, nobody will love it more than Terry Funk.
Th- Fucking A.
You know, nobody would have loved it more than Terry Funk. And then for the last 45 minutes of the car ride, he proceeded to keep calling Colin Delaney gay and kept razzing me of like, "Why the hell did you keep me at the bar so long?" And I was like, "Terry, you told me we were going to stay, and then you wanted
one
to
more.
leave, but then you wanted to I know what I said, you son of a bitch. Why'd you keep me there?" And I'm like, "I wanted to stay as long as you. Why the hell are we going back to Syracuse when I got to go to Amsterdam tomorrow?" And I'm like, "You need to talk to Josh. He
I'm just
booked
the driver,
I'm like,
man.
he booked your travel." But I was like, "I'm just a driver." He's like, "Yeah, and you're driving me, god damn it." Surreal. One of the greatest nights in the history of our sport. But yeah, it's unfortunate, man. But like, you look at his life and you look at the legacy he left on wrestling and how,
Mm-hmm.
let's face it, even the people today, like Terry Funk is one of those guys that your favorite wrestler was inspired by.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like there's always
100%.
there's always that conversation of like music and like this is the band that all your favorite bands loved. Terry Funk
Mm-hmm.
was the guy that all your favorite wrestlers looked up to and loved. And the people that are now in the business that look at that generation above them, guess what? Their favorite wrestler was Terry Funk.
With Terry
So
Funk.
and then
Yep.
like that's always going to be the as new people crop up, it's always going to go back to people like him, which I think
Yep.
that in itself, like that legacy will never die.
100%.
So it's
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, I posted about, just basically saying, forever grateful
Yeah.
for getting the opportunity. How lucky were we?
And I could have retired that night. I could have just stopped. And
Yeah,
because that was one of those days where like it could absolutely get better than this. But like that in itself for me was like I know I wanted to do this my whole life, but I didn't know that was going to happen.
Right. Right.
It's kind of like one of those things where people have that mentality of like they get involved in something they want to do and then they realize how hard it is and they're like, "Oh, whoa, like I maybe this isn't for me." That night with Terry Funk, I was like that I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah. 100%. And there'll never be another.
Never be another.
So
no matter how hard anybody tries. So cheers to him.
Funker.
I'll do a shot of whiskey when we're done.
There we go.
And then yeah, man, just like the rest of last week obviously was a tough one too. With the loss of Bray Wyatt. I would say within the last 10 years, for me as somebody who proceeded to dip in and out of wrestling more, it wasn't something I was following every week. It wasn't something I was even really watching closely every month. The one thing I'll say is anytime he was involved with something, like my eyes were on that.
Right.
And in like a weird way, we all sort of have that connection with him through Brody.
Through Brody, right.
Because I remember, and like we had talked about this a little bit on, the show we did where we talked about Brody Lee. I still remember the night that they debuted on Raw.
Oh yeah.
and
Yep.
how wild that was to see them
Mhm.
coming out and to see them doing what they did and the promos and the vignettes leading up to it and just the way it was all produced. For me, like that was a great blend of like everything I love about professional wrestling. Like I love the over the top characters, I love the over the top antics, I love just like the crazy storytelling, and then like the solid in ring action. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, I'm like, this is something.
Yeah.
And
It was exciting for
it
once.
was exciting. It was different. It was unique. And then like we get to see our guy who was the local guy who done right and made it big. And then he's connected with Bray, and then like for 10 years past that, like
Mhm.
those were names that were constantly talked about in some form or fashion, and it's a damn shame because fuck, 36 years old.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
That
You know?
36.
But
But
yeah.
I think similar in a way to like how people talk about Terry Funk. I think what you'll get with Bray Wyatt is sort of the legacy of the creativity,
Mhm.
because that was a dude who, and like admittedly, like I didn't like everything he did, and I think if you go back a few episodes into earlier this year, like you'll hear me be critical about
Right.
what I saw at the Royal Rumble. But I think that
Oh, you love that blackout match.
the blackout match was like, I loved the blackout match for how dumb it was,
Mhm.
because like it's 100% in my wheelhouse, and I know that I love dumb and weird things, and like it was
You saw his
super
last
cool.
match live.
Yeah, yeah, which is yeah, that hit me too. I was just like shit,
Mhm.
and like I told that to Christy, um, because and weirdly enough, like I actually found out through um like friends of ours, because like
Oh.
somebody made a comment on just like a chat that we're on, and I was just like, oh shit, and then like I made the comment to Christy, and she was like, oh fuck, like that's wild. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think in a similar vein, what you'll get as the business continues to move on is that legacy of creativity, that legacy of taking chances, which is something that
Mhm.
I think people need to do more of.
Mhm.
I th- People talk about what wrestling is and what wrestling should be versus what wrestling isn't and what wrestling shouldn't be. Um, it could be all those things.
Yeah.
It's if you like McDonald's, get the Big Mac. If you like Burger King, get the Whopper. If you like Taco Bell, get a party pack. If you like
A
all of
whole party.
them, do family style dinner where you get a little bit of both. A little bit of everything
Right.
in between. Like what you like. But I think when people talk about the creative mindset of wrestling 10, 20, 30 years later, that there's gonna be that pathway back to Bray, because I think
Mhm.
because what a lot of people don't really take into consideration when we look back at the history of wrestling is how short of a time all the major things we remember actually existed for. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
Like that 4-person team of DX, that was like 2 years.
That's
The
it.
the NWO was only a few years,
Mhm.
you know? like Goldberg was what, on top 2-3 years,
If that, yeah.
if that.
Stone Cold was only there for what, 4
Stone Cold's career was 11 years.
in total.
Yeah, like he debuted in 89, and I think he ended his first real run in like what, like 2002, 2003.
Mhm.
So like a little bit more, like it was less than 15 years, whatever it was. Like but his run from debuting to like basically kind of being on his way out was like 11, 12 years. And
Made a lot
most
of
and,
money.
and most guys are hitting 11, 12 years in the WWE right now.
Right.
Like that's not a thing that people celebrate anymore.
No. No, no.
Like Undertaker hitting 10 years You know, in the WWE, 91 to 2001, like it was the decade of destruction. It was the Undertaker's rule, like 10 years in the WWE. Now it's like, oh, you've been here for 10 years. Go make a tweet. Like, come on, we got a show to do.
Right.
You know, and I think that with the amount of time that Bray was really widely known,
Mm-hmm.
that is going to be remembered for a very long time, because I think the impact, again, through the creativity, through the wild chaos that he produced, I mean, that fucking Firefly Funhouse shit was insanely fun to watch. His return at Extreme Rules, just listen to the crowd in that video, and like they had the crowd's money right there, you know. And the match story thing he did with Cena back in, what was it, 2020?
Yeah, because pandemic,
everything in between, it's always going to be there.
Yeah, it's a real it's so weird because, you know, the death of Terry Funk kind of put me in a weird place. Next year the Miz will be in the company for how many years?
The Miz has been with the WWE for 20 years. That's true.
And Dwayne was on top for 4.
Yeah.
Time
is abstract. Bergman. You're correct.
It's a construct.
Yeah.
It's a construct. Yeah. Okay. Just ask the man with the blue penis. He'll tell you. But what the fuck was I gonna say? I got distracted.
You were saying something about Terry Funk, was it?
Oh yeah, so the death of Terry Funk, you know, it put me in a bad mood.
Sure.
Bad moods, it's melancholy mood, right? And it kind of fucked with me actually, to be perfectly honest, like that day, like I found out about the death of Terry Funk at 4:00, and I'll know exactly that time because we've been having kind of not a rough time, but it's been, you know, not completely great. And that particular day, nothing had happened, really.
Oh.
And my daughter got home from school at 4:00, and she goes, "Oh," she comes in. I go, "How was your day?" And she told me about her day, and she goes, "How was your day?" And I'm like, you know, nothing catastrophic happened today. And brother, when I tell you, 3 minutes after I said that, Terry Funk died, or at least I got the news that Terry Funk died. My Amazon account renewed, and I wasn't expecting it, and that was $150 taken out of my bank account that I wasn't expecting. And then like 3 things broke, like, and I'm just like, wait, what happened? Today was great. Today was great.
Bad news comes in threes.
You know what the fuck? And so that had me in a melancholy mood. So like the next day, I was like, you know what? Let's, you know, we got to reset. You know, life goes on. Unfortunately, we're gonna take the family out for a run because we're training for our 5K. And while we were out for our run, that's when you texted me, like,
I feel like I ruined a lot of people's day that day.
Like fucking Bray Wyatt passed away, and I was like, what the fuck? And so like, I'm at this beautiful park with my family, like taking in all this scenery and all of this, and I'm being told that like fucking Bray Wyatt's dead. And then Blakely goes, "What happened?" I'm like, "Kevin just told me Bray Wyatt died." She goes, "What?" I go, "Yeah." And so like I have to Google it, and so like I Google it, and you know, not that I didn't believe you, but I was more in just disbelief in general.
I mean, and Bergman, if you're still here, like because I think I texted Bergman, and Bergman was like, "I'm at a golf tournament," or like something like that.
Like, what the fuck?
And
man?
I'm just like, guys, I'm sorry. I just I couldn't comprehend it, so I'm like, I've got to get this out. I've got to tell somebody because I need to know what's going on.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And it didn't make any sense. And then, you know, looking at it, and then when I saw his age, I was just like, yo, that's next year for me.
Yeah, and like that was the thing too, was again, like he had been around for as long as he had, and like he was within our age range.
Oh yeah.
Like there are guys in the business where like, yeah, they're like early early to mid 40s. Like, they're still looking good. They're still kicking it. But then, like, you get to that point of, like, no, like, I'm in my mid 30s now. And that guy was too. Like, that's, yeah, a year older than you, 2 years older than me. Just like, fuck, man.
It's fucking rough. And it brought me right back to Brody. Bergman says, I was eating a steak dinner after the captain and crew. True story. I had to play off my reaction like a 70-year-old to me.
I'm so sorry, Bergman. I'm sorry.
So
yeah,
I'll just say this: like, it makes you, people say, tell the people that you love that you love them. No one's guaranteed tomorrow. Unfortunately, it takes these fucking events to remind you of that.
Yeah,
kind of humble you. And you had been going through, mortality struggle with your family. My wife's going one with hers, and actually one on mine as well. And so, like, this whole month has just been kind of dark.
It could be, you know what? It could be November at this point. I'm ready for November. Like,
yeah,
yeah, like remember at the beginning of
remember
how at like the beginning of summer we were like, it's October,
right?
Now I'm like, why is it still August?
Why is it still August?
Why is it still August? Can't we speed this up a little bit?
Yeah, can we move past August here?
Yeah.
And the last thing I'll say about Bray, I'll never forget this because I thought it was fucking hilarious. And I don't know if Brody told me directly, if I heard from somebody this, but when he was first in FCW and he first got paired up with the Wyatts, and they kicked that first guy out because Brody was taller. And then they teamed him up with Rowan. And Brody goes,
fucking Rowan, man.
Yeah, poor fucking dude, right?
Yeah. And
I just remember I heard from Brody, and he basically said, like, yo, Bray's cool as fuck. This Rowan guy's annoying as shit. And like, and that's one of those things that, like, if Brody endorsed somebody, they were cool.
Yeah.
Like, you just, like, it was just one of those things. So yeah, it's rough. It's a rough one. And he's had fucking young kids and shit.
Yeah.
God damn it.
It's a rough time for us all, but hey, we are getting through it together, and we're gonna keep getting through it. My fucking cat here, like, dude, the run-in's not till later, man. Are you just saying hi because I feel sad? Thanks, pal. He apparently isn't getting enough attention today. But I don't know if you can hear him right now. But he is just purring up a storm. Why are you doing this? Why are you being so cuddly right now?
ASMR?
Some kitty cat ASMR.
Yeah.
So how's the rest of your summer going?
Jesus Christ, man. Well, we're in the middle of a hurricane. I don't know if you heard.
What the hell's going on with your hurricane?
Oh, I don't know, man. Like, that, it's one of those things where, like, so this whole week has been fucking insane because Blakely is up in North Carolina helping her grandmother move. So I'm here by myself with the kids. And as she's flying out Monday, we're getting told that a hurricane's coming Tuesday. So, and they're announcing, like, as she's trying to leave, she's got like an 8:30 flight out PM to North Carolina. We're getting word that they're starting to close airports.
Oh no.
Because the hurricane's coming. And so they delayed her flight, but then they switched that back to its original time because they're trying to get the flight out before they're closing the airport. And of course, the airport is an hour and a half away from where we are. So, like, we just have to leave to drop her off, and hopefully it doesn't get canceled. We get halfway to the airport. My car starts smoking because the fucking transmission's going on the goddamn thing. So, like, we had to pull over to let it cool off for a little bit and figure that shit out. And then we finally get there. drop her off, and once we drop her off, her fucking flight gets delayed again.
Mm-hmm.
So she's stuck there for a little bit. I'm trying to get home. We had to stop halfway again, let the car cool off because like we fucking life and all that kind of shit. And so get back, and then they fucking cancel school for the kids for 2 days. So like I'm here by myself and a hurricane, and the goddamn kids are home, and like we got no fucking, the car doesn't work, and there's no money because fucking Amazon, and like all this fucking shit that's going on. I'm just like, good lord, can we just settle down? Can everybody calm the fuck down? Everybody calm the fuck down, okay? But that we didn't really get hit by the hurricane.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's very good to hear. Yeah. I'm happy to hear that. Weather here is still hot. You know, it was weird because I had a moment last week as I was leaving work because it has been cooling down a little bit. I will say that. But I walked out of the office and I'm like, oh, it's not as sweaty out today. That's good. And then I got in my car and I looked at the temperature gauge. I'm like, oh yeah, it's not that sweaty because it's only 100 degrees.
That's it.
That's it. And then it proceeded to be 95 overnight. Overnight. We've had nights where it's been 85 and up. But then, like when I was in Syracuse, I actually got to see some rain.
Oh, we see rain all the time here.
But you don't understand. This was the first rain I've seen in months.
That's wild.
Like, literally months. Like, we're in a drought. I can't water my grass.
Oh, yeah. It's like mandated, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, which is fine, but, like, my yard looks like shit. So it's just like, whatever, though. I'd rather have water than, like, a nice-looking yard because, like, fuck it, it's just going to be dead and it's going to, be icy in a couple months anyways. Just let it die. Our HOA doesn't do shit, so it ain't like they're going to come a-knocking.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. They ain't going to get my money much longer, too. I think I'm going to just stop paying them.
Oh, you're going to stop paying?
I think I'm just going to stop paying.
You can do that, except that when you try to sell the house, you got to pay all that shit back before you can sell it.
No, because I'm going to try to abolish it.
Oh, you're going full rogue. Okay.
Well, yeah, no. I'm gonna see what the logistics are about abolishing the HOA because, like, they don't do anything, and here's the thing too. They only book meetings, like they book their HOA community meetings, like in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week, and I'm like,
when nobody can go,
and I'm like, motherfuckers, I have a job,
right?
But I can't do that.
Right? Who has the time?
Who's got the time anyways? Fuck. Just let me fucking live my life. I want to put up a shed.
What is with the thing in the shed? Like, nobody fucking allows a shed.
Nobody allows a shed.
I don't understand. I don't understand about the shed.
I have no space for my yard equipment. I want a house for my lawnmower. I want Christy to have a house for her potter plants. And just I want a thing in my backyard that I can open and pull out chairs and sit in the middle of my yard and just drink a beer and be like, yes, this is my space. This is my yard.
That called Tom.
Fuck Tom. He's not allowed over. Oh, wait. Bergman in the chat. You'll have to legally dissolve the HOA corporation. It's going to be a while. But what if I'm very persuasive?
Yeah, he's got +4 charisma.
It's like, okay, you won't just dissolve the HOA completely, but what if I sweeten the pot with this sweet Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling VHS tape, huh? Produced by Dick.
Is that a new thing that you've acquired?
Maybe.
What did you do?
I bought some tapes.
I mean, what the fuck else is new? Bought a booth yet?
No, but I talked to the guy.
You talked to a guy?
I talked to the guy. So they were doing a swap meet, not last weekend, but the weekend before. They were doing a swap meet. And To be fair, they had like an entire table that they were just like, take any of these, take a bunch. Like that's how I got the blockbuster classic of Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol.
Okay.
But I will. Oh, I also got Casablanca because it was free. I'll go through
One of
the
the best
actual
movies ever.
rundown of things that I bought.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I also got Bob Seger's Greatest Hits because it was free. I just want to listen to Night Moves.
Turn the page, brother.
Turn the page, brother. What do we get? Okay, so the actual stuff that we bought, and there were some heavy hitters in there. We got Judgment Night, which is like a 90s classic. Okay. We got fucking Rambo, First Blood. Okay. Solid pickup. And this guy gave me a deal too, because I was like, "Did you do a deal?" He's like, he's like, "Yeah, I'll get you a deal." Okay. And then we got the Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie.
The movie.
Classic.
Right.
Then we did pay for the Rock and Wrestling. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Picked up a $3 copy of Dick Tracy.
Oh, Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy.
Okay.
Which a lot of people don't like.
Oh yeah. No, people hate that movie.
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago on the show. Like, I love this movie.
It's the reason fucking Disney lost McDonald's.
I know. But we also picked up Wayne's World for 50 cents. 50 cents. I went to a thrift mall like a couple of months ago where they had this for $20. And I'm like, that is overpriced, sir. And then
clearly
we also got, to go along with the Rock and Wrestling, Three Ninjas, High Noon at Mega Mountain, starring Hulk Hogan, Lonnie Anderson, and Jim Varney, of all people. But I think the piece de resistance, Evil Dead 2. One of my top 5 favorite movies, in tremendous condition, clamshell case, special collector's edition.
If it makes you happy.
It makes me happy. It makes me so happy. I'm so happy with this.
If it makes you happy, then why the hell are you so sad?
Okay.
Bergman, so quick research. You need the board of directors to adopt your resolution to dissolve them. 100% of the HOA must agree. So yeah, best of luck, bud.
What if I get on the board of directors, though?
Oh, from the inside out.
From the inside. I infiltrate.
Like Vince McMahon.
Like Vince McMahon.
Just Vince McMahon, your HOA.
Let's just wrap up. Let's just wrap this show. We don't need to go down that road.
Oh, goodness.
Well, folks, listen, we do this show each and every single Wednesday night right here on youtube.com/BrainWreckTV. We've also got the internet's favorite game show, Don't Be an Asshole, which streams every other Thursday night right here on this channel. We'll come back to you with that show next week. Back to our regular scheduled programming. Also, be sure to ring that notification bell so you get the updates on each and every time we go live, have new content dropping. Be on the lookout because tomorrow I will have a new video posted as long as it renders and exports tonight. That'll be going live tomorrow. End of August. The new stream.
Thank God.
New stream count starts on Friday, so maybe I'll try to knock it out within the first week. We'll see. Because
there you go.
September's gonna be a busy month. Hey, what do you got?
What is not a busy month? February.
April. April. February. See, February is too short.
It's short, but like everyone's gung ho January, and by February they're kind of like, okay, like, can we settle it down a little bit?
Dude, my January was fucking. My January was dumb. It was dumb busy, just so fucking busy. February, I blinked and I missed it. March, like end of March through like most of April, I feel like that was kind of like a slow period. You know, chilled out a little bit, and then
Sure.
Now what the fuck was it? May was fun. June was fun. July was fun, but busy. Just busy. So many things.
This whole year, man.
This whole year.
It's been a weird year.
Been a weird year. Weird year.
Like on paper, I've hit almost every single goal I've set for myself. So like that's cool.
Yeah.
But like everything else has been really weird.
Weird. I'm not even going to comment on 2024 because I don't want to touch that monkey's paw yet. I'm just gonna
Not yet.
keep my hands in my
I'm gonna make it
pockets.
at the end of the year. So,
Yep.
But other than that, stay tuned because I got some shit coming out sometime.
Yeah, push that shit out.
I got ideas. If I have time to do them, that'd be wonderful. But like I've got a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
So
ideas are cool.
Ideas are great. But for this week, I've been Jason X.
I'm Kevin Graham.
And it's been your show.
Peace.